Welcome to part 2 of this series on how to bulk update the alt text on your Drupal website using AI. My name is Wayne Aker. I'm a Drupal developer at Zengenuity, and I also teach Drupal training courses at DrupalTutor.com. In part 1, we built out a user interface using views. This UI allows us to easily see the images in our media library, as well as their current alt text. And it allows us to filter them based on whether there is any alt text, or whether the alt text is empty, and also whether it needs to be reviewed after having been updated with AI. So in this part 2, we are going to build the custom actions that will power the bulk update of these images to fill in their alt text. And we'll use a powerful module called ECA, which stands for Event Condition Action. The ECA module provides a visual, no-code way to build business logic and workflows within Drupal. If you've ever used tools like Zapier or If This Then That, ECA offers similar capabilities, but integrated directly into your Drupal site. So you can define triggers, events, check certain criteria, those are the conditions, and then perform task. Those are the actions in response to the triggers and conditions. One of the key things ECA allows us to do is define custom actions that can be used by views bulk operations. This is exactly what we need to generate alt text and manage the review status for multiple images at once. Now, to follow along with this demo, you will need the ECA module and several of its submodules. They will have to be installed. If you are using the Drupal CMS distribution like I am in this demo, many of these are probably already installed. The essential ones for this workflow are ECA Base, ECA Core, ECA Content, ECA UI, ECA BPMN. Okay, this gives you the drag and drop interface. I think that is all you need for this particular workflow that we're going to build, at least from the submodules of ECA itself. We will also need a module we will need the ECA VBO integration module. This module connects ECA with views bulk operations, allowing ECA models to become selectable actions in our view. So the ECA VBO module doesn't come with Drupal CMS, and it doesn't come with ECA itself. So I will need to install it. And so I can do that with Composer. So open the terminal here and run Composer install. And then I will go to the extend page. And turn on ECA VBO. And I'll click the install button. All right, with the necessary modules now installed and ready, let's build our first action. This is the one that will eventually generate the AI alt text and also flag the image for review. So let's navigate to Configuration, Workflow, ECA. Let's click Add a new model. And we need to define this model as a VBO action. So the start event, we'll add that here. And then for templates, choose VBO execute views bulk operation. It's a little hard to see, but you want the one that says 1 by 1. Okay, this event tells ECA that this model should be available as an action within VBO. For the operation name, this is the name of the action that we will see in the user interface. Let's call it generate AI alt text and mark for review. And then now let's define a sequence of actions that this operation should perform. So we can add the actions like this, and first action will be generate the alt text. And for now, since we're not integrating the actual AI, let's just have this display a placeholder. So I'll click this and display a message to the user. And then we'll just put something here like alt text is being generated. So this way we'll get some visual feedback when we're testing, and then we'll make this work in part 3. All right, the next action we want is set the needs review flag. This is the Boolean field on the media entity. We want to set it to true. So here we want set a field value. Entity set field value. We want the field name, which was the Boolean field. So let's go back and get that field name. We need the machine name here. So this is field unreviewed AI alt text. So we'll paste that in. The field value here should be 1, which is a Boolean true. We won't save the entity. We'll do that as a separate step. And then we need the entity to act on. If we go back to the original event, you can see that there are tokens here. And the last one here is event entity. This is the entity that has been selected with the checkbox. So let's copy that token and put that here for entity. All right, so the next action, I like to, if I'm doing this type of thing, I like to set a new revision in case I have to revert, because maybe something will go wrong with this. So let's set a new revision. And the template here is entity set new revision. We want that to be yes. The entity should be that same token that we used before. And we could do something here for the revision log, like alt text generated by AI. And then finally, we need one more action, which is to save the entity. Or we'll say save the image, because it's an image media. And then if this is just entity save, and again, we will need that same token. Okay, so here is our flow. We're going to start, generate the alt text, set the needs review flag to true. Maybe just specify that, set a new revision, and save the image. Okay, next let's give this model a name. We'll call it, this is just in the admin interface. We'll see this for ECA. So we'll call it VBO generate AI alt text. And then we will click save. Okay, great. So that is our first action. That will generate alt text and mark something for review. In our second action, we want to be able to scan down this page because we can see all of the alt text here on one page. We want to scan down this page and compare it, and then be able to say, check everything, and say, yes, this is good. All of these are good, right? We want to review them all at once. We don't want to have to edit each one individually. That's tedious. So we need an action that will allow us to apply flipping that unreviewed alt text from false to true. So let's go back to ECA and let's add a new model again. And again, the event, we will select VBO execute a bulk operation one by one. Then we need the operation name. We'll say mark alt text as reviewed. And the actions for this model are similar to our first one. So first we will, except obviously we're not generating the alt text, so set the needs review flag to false. And so the template will be set field value. We need the entity token. And the field value here should be 0 because we want it to be set to false. We need the field name again. Okay, so this will set this field to 0. Now we need to set a new revision. Set it yes. We need the entity token. And we can set, we can say alt text reviewed as the revision log. And then the final action will be save the image entity. And that's just going to be entity save with that same entity token in there. Okay, so the workflow here is when the VBO is executed, we'll set the reviews flag to false, set a new revision, and save the image entity. Let's give this VBO workflow a name. We'll call it VBO mark alt text as reviewed and save this. Okay, now that we have created our custom ECA actions, we need to make them available in our views bulk operations dropdown, or our available choices down here when we select items. So let's go back to, this is under structure views, edit the media alt text fixer view. And in the field section, we already have the views bulk operations field here. So let's click on that. And then let's scroll down to the actions section. And we should see two new custom actions: generate AI alt text and mark for review, mark alt text as reviewed. So let's check those two boxes. Let's uncheck the saved media action that we added earlier. We don't need that anymore. And I'm going to put this one above just because that comes before this other action in what we're going to be doing. So I'll click apply, and then let's save this view. And now let's go back to our media alt text fixer. I'm going to refresh the page, and let's test our workflow. First, let's simulate generating the AI alt text. So let's select a couple of images that have the needs review set to no. And then from the action drop-down menu at the bottom here, let's select generate AI alt text, and then click apply to selected items. Should see a confirmation screen. Click execute. And then the process will run, and we see the status messages, alt text is being generated. And so if we look at the value for unreviewed alt text, we should see that for the ones we selected, this is now set to yes. Okay. So yeah, so that's perfect. So we have, now let's actually, okay. So, and the other ones are still no. So this worked correctly for simulation. We didn't do the alt text, but we went through that process. Now let's test it the other way. Let's say we are reviewing and approving these. These had some alt text. We could come here, mark these as review, click apply to selected items, execute. And now after the batch process runs, we look at unreviewed alt text column, we see that those items are set to no. All right, excellent. So in this part, we successfully used the ECA module to build 2 custom bulk actions without writing any code. Now, we created an action to simulate generating the AI alt text and flagging images for review, and then another action to mark them as reviewed. We then integrated these actions into our view using views bulk operations. So we now have a complete workflow structure in place, and the only thing that is missing at this point is the actual AI integration. And so that's exactly what we will cover in part 3 of this series. We'll look at how to connect an AI service to Drupal and how to use it within our ECA action to automatically generate descriptive alt text based on the content of the image. So I'll see you again in part 3.